this episode, I want to talk about surface living. Now, I'm going to talk about it, as always, from my perspective and my understanding. And kind of looking back over the last few years of my life, I don't know whether it's going through the lockdown, becoming a dad, or career changes, or what, but I really do feel like I'm barely scratching the surface in life at the minute. Like, the world is a massive place. There is so much going on in the world. There is so many possibilities and things that you can do. But for the most part, I spend most of my time trying to survive or trying to plan for the future and kind of prepare for a better time. But that causes problems where you don't really get into anything too much, or you don't enjoy your time. You're always in a rush. You're always preoccupied and something's on your mind or something's keeping you busy. And for the most part, all you manage to do is maintain everything, pay the bills and tick all the boxes in life, but not really explore life much more than that. And I feel like I've been doing that for a while. I don't know if it's just me, and maybe me putting this out there helps somebody else realize they're doing the same or whatever. And if you are, let me know, and let me know what helps, because I'll let you know if I find anything that helps. But I really do feel like I'm just scratching the surface. There's so many things to see and do, but for the most part, life's fairly repetitive, and I think it is for a lot of people. And I really am trying to escape that repetitive cycle, especially ones that don't offer progress or don't offer development. I think it's easy to get caught up in that cycle of predictability that you know what you're going to be doing for the next week, month, year, whatever it is. There is comfort in that because it's predictable. You know what to expect, you know how to prepare for it. But at the same time, when you're not exploring things, when you're not learning anything new, that you're not making any discoveries, you're not growing or developing further. I think that's where I am at the minute. And again, it may be unfortunate, but at least I'm becoming aware of it and I'm slowly trying to figure it out. Like, I went to record this episode a couple of times, and a lot of it I was projecting out on the world, and I was starting to get self-critical because I didn't know if I was over projecting my problems onto the world and assuming that everybody is having a similar experience, or whether it's just me. But I think it doesn't matter whether it's just me or there's other people experiencing it. I know I am, so I need to deal with it regardless. And like, I've been thinking about picking up hobbies again and doing this and doing that. And then you find yourself in the position where you make excuses. That all of the reasons why you can't go any deeper than the surface, all the reasons why you can't put down roots and commit to anything. It always fascinates me that there's people out there that dedicate their life to one subject. And I haven't found that subject yet, and I don't know if I ever will. I don't know if we're all meant to find that subject or not. Like, I know that we're all on our own journeys and everybody has a different path in life, but I'm still figuring mine out. And sometimes it's really confusing. But as I've always analysed myself, I'll always default back to that. So anytime I can't get through something, I'll dissect it and try to break it apart as best as I can. And that's what I've been doing with kind of this train of thought, is anytime I can have a coherent thought about it, I kind of come back to it and try to look at it from a new angle, see is it me projecting or is there truth to what I'm seeing and why I think other people would relate. And truth be told, there is. Like, I think there's a lot of people that kind of live on the surface of life because life is very hectic and just getting by in life can occupy you to no end. So to maintain a consistent interest behind that is difficult. And I mean, it is for me anyway. Like, I'll tend to get very interested in things for a little while, but eventually reach a point where I get bored. And whether that be at a point where I've stopped learning or stopped developing in the given thing, or whether it just be my attention span's just gone. I don't know. But it's something I've been working on for a while. Like, I suppose it comes back to one of those things like you start dissecting yourself, and the more you talk about it, the more you start to realize certain things. Like looking back at my work and career path and the pattern behind it all. And I think my longest career, I was in security for 5 years. And by the end, I was clawing at the walls to get out. I spent the last year of working in security, studying at the same time in order to get out of it. So realistically, say by year 3, year 4, I was done with it. I wanted out. But I kept it going. And it was because I had life, I had bills to pay. Like, it's one of those ones where you get accustomed to a certain way of life and you kind of build that up over time. And because I worked a lot of hours, I was earning decent for my age, and I felt so anyway. Um, Looking back, I would have priced my time differently, but anyhow. Um, yeah, like after security, I kind of wanted to increase how much I was getting for my time and work less hours and kind of enjoy life a little bit more. So I kind of been chasing it for a while, kind of getting a bit deeper into life, and I tried to make my hobby my career, and that didn't go to plan. Like for me, it took a lot of the fun out of it. I like to compartmentalize and have different kind of aspects of life as they are. So when I kind of took my safe space, which was the gym, and made that my workspace. I mean, when you're at work, sometimes you don't get on with people, or you don't want to be around people, or you just don't want to be at work. And for me, having that as the same place as my hobby just kind of ruined it. Um, but that was probably a massive learning curve and a learning point in not only the value of my time when I become a personal trainer and start pricing my own time, but also the kind of realization of having that compartmentalization for myself. It's something that's quite important. I like to have each part. I like to be able to switch off from work or be able to switch off from home life and focus on what I'm doing. And for me, it's just easier. It's how I've figured out that I function. But it still kind of comes back to the same problem of trying to survive and trying to get somewhere, and the change, and that creates delay. And eventually you've spent 5, 10 years in limbo because you're chasing a certain idea of your happiness, or you're saying I'm going to put down roots when I get into this position, or whatever it is, you make an excuse to stop yourself going any deeper, really getting into things, taking up a long-term hobby or whatever it is. Again, like, my mind tends to stay in the immediate, and then I suppose I go back and forth. The easiest way to explain it would be primarily in the immediate, but always thinking kind of long term in the back of my mind. So you kind of pay attention enough to the immediate in order to take care of everything, and then divert all of the rest of my brain power to thinking about the future, about when things are how I want them to be. And again, that distracts you from enjoying the immediate and getting into something now. Like, to relate it to the podcast, this is now like episode 25. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it's still a struggle to get it done, and I'm still finding my feet in doing the whole thing, don't get me wrong. But I'm glad I've started, and the more the time goes on, it's just building and building. Like, it's weird for me to say now it's on episode 25 when my original goal was to get to episode 10. And now it's chasing down that 100. Like, hopefully this is going to be something that I can go beyond surface level with, where it's something where I can commit to for years and build up something that keeps me interested, and hopefully other people too. Like, everything starts somewhere, and I don't know, this is still in motion, and I'm still in motion. Like, everything needs its time to develop, and I guess only time will tell. But for now, I'm like 10 weeks, 12 weeks into this, and I'm pretty happy that, like, with keeping it going and everything else. Don't get me wrong, like, balancing the workload with life is still hectic, but I'm enjoying the possibilities of it. I'm enjoying the overall journey of it. And I think that's important, especially in getting beyond the surface, is actually enjoying what you're doing. A lot of the time, my careers, my jobs have been to serve a purpose, to pay the bills, to get X, Y, Z, whatever, rather than just doing it for the joy of it. Like, I genuinely enjoy having in-depth conversations with people, talking about life, different ideas, and how people think and what makes people tick. Like, that's always fascinated me. I like to know how things work. Like, it's that has always been a part of me. Now, it's not my hobby, but it's something that I've always taken an interest in, and it's something that's always going to change. So hopefully for me, this is something that I can deep dive with and actually kind of get into for a long term. And I'd love to see how this goes 10 years down the line. Like, the idea of that to me is insane. But as long as I keep on the journey, and as long as I keep pushing forward with this, then I guess it will get there eventually. So you just got to stay committed, and you'll get beyond the surface eventually. At least that's what I'm trying. I'm going to end the episode there. Might have been a bit of a rocky one, shaking off a headache, but, you know, we still push through. The seed for this episode is going to be, try to find something new, or try to ask yourself, are you living on the surface? Is there something that you could deep dive into and really commit to over the long term? Think 10 years. What would you want to spend the next 10 years of your life pursuing? Let me know in the comments below. All the best, and I'll catch you on the next one.